What made you want to write? What made you want to?
Oh, I wanted to write, you know, as long as I can remember. I remember when I was a kid, we went every summer up to Houghton Lake, Michigan, to my granny's cottage, and I had a distinct and awful fear of water, and I wouldn't go swimming. They'd go swimming all day. I'd sit in the cottage and write poetry, you know, which was, you know, really some terrible stuff. But I mean, I had that urge to do that. As I got older, after I got out of high school, it became a hobby. I always felt a need to explain where I was at, to give an explanation of the way I felt, but you know, I had a hard time verbalizing with people. You know, on a whole, you know, I don't have a whole lot of faith in the human race, and I'm not well in situations with people, so I found it easier to just write, and then that way I could you know, explain myself, explain what I thought, you know. And writing was the handiest thing because I didn't need to physically be in the same room with anyone. I could commit something to paper, and they could find my views, you know, without me ever having to go within a mile of them. So, you know, that was a very attractive option, and I think why I started writing.
Do you remember the first thing you wrote, or the first thing you remember writing?
Oh, I think it was a poem in 6th grade, I believe, that I got an A+ on in Sister Philip Denise's English class, called "A Grain of Sand." And don't ask me to quote it, I don't remember, but I remember. It was really sappy and Robert Frost-like, and but I think that's the furthest memory I have of anything I wrote.
I think almost everyone learns their craft by imitating, and you wind up you start imitating one person, then you start going through different people, you imitate different styles, and after a while you begin to understand the way things work.
Exactly. It you know, as I got into high school years, you know, I would still write poetry, and looking back on it, it's hilarious, you know, the stuff I haven't thrown away. You know, it's hilarious because you can see, well, here's the flavor of the week, Richard Brodigan, and here I am doing, like, you know, one-line little poems about my light bulb or something, and then, you know, Bukowski came in, and all of a sudden I'm swearing and drinking and, you know, this and that. So, you know, it takes a while before you find your own distinct style. It took me, fortunately I had the Flint and Michigan voice, which, boy, I wrote some crap for years, a lot of things that, you know, I'd be embarrassed to even look at. But it gave me a place where I could hone what I do, and I eventually got into a good pattern and realized what worked and what didn't. And so I'm thankful for that period. It was really, you know, I didn't ever get paid out there, but really, it was like a very, very cheap education.
Do you remember an early piece that you look back at now and say, you know, that really is pretty good? I mean, you know, I wouldn't throw it away. I would keep that.
I think my fast food review that I wrote in about 1982, I dug that one out when I was looking for something when I was doing the book, and I stumbled across that, and I laughed. I thought, boy, this is just as current as 10 years ago. I wrote a review on, like, you know, the fast food places around Flint, Arby's and McDonald's and Halo Burger, and, you know, and I really got a chuckle out of that. But most of it is really overwritten.
Well, it's like music too. Sometimes the most important part is the part you leave out. You know, it's what you don't say.
Exactly. Precisely. That's what I think is my biggest lesson in learning how to write, was how to control myself, to not get carried away, you know, with unnecessary, you know, imagery and this and that, and keep the senses, you know, hard and strong. You know, every now and then have your witty metaphor, or, you know, whatever, your analogy, but, you know, you can't pack that one line after another. It just becomes sort of stupid.